Welcome back. Last time out was very admin heavy, as we set up the game and navigated through pre-season. But we're finally ready for our first league game, where I'll also discuss our tactical setup in more detail. Before that, however, let's recap on a few games that I've already played in the Conference League. Now, full confession, I know nothing about Panevėžys of Lithuania, so I've done a little bit of research, and I'm reliably informed that this is how they are pronounced. A bit like pain au chocolat, but instead of a sweet choco filling, it's turnip paste, carrots and peas. Right, out to Augusto. Živković with the layoff, a slight deflection, but that will do very nicely. This ball was delightful. Merg beats his man, cuts it back. Tyson has the presence of mind to lay it off, and Laratsis just nurses it in at the near post. This ball from Merg, just round the corner, absolutely delightful. A good save in fact, but Canis is there for the rebound as well, and that should put the game beyond doubt. Let's make this substitution. Trust you to make the difference, make me proud. Wait, what? Oh, well, whilst we were messing around with substitutions there, Merg has got himself sent off. It's a pretty simple throwing routine. Živković lays it off, absolutely thunders it from distance. 4-0, got to be happy with that. Let's see that red card, shall we? Right, so it's our attack. Swings it in, Merg is there, 6-yard box. He's chasing him down 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 yards he's gone to make that challenge. That is ridiculous. Yeah, no complaints about that whatsoever. The second leg was a bit of a dead rubber. With a healthy 4-0 lead in front of a home crowd, we were able to rotate the team a little and still rack up the score. 9-0 on aggregate. That sets us up for a third round showdown against Nordsjælland, which I expect will be a far sterner test. We've also seen the arrival of Magomed Odzoev, an experienced midfielder who seems to be pretty solid all round. He'll soften the blow of losing arguably our best midfielder, Douglas Augusto, to Nantes, and come straight into the squad for the next fixture. Okay, I didn't see that coming, so here's Tyson Živković, is going to lay it back. Plenty of space. Thumps it. The keeper really should be doing better there, but a heavy touch, gets the challenge in. Tyson swings a boot at it, and that doubles our advantage. So nice work, short corner routine, cuts it back. I mean, that is a big deflection. So Laratsis does well, plays it in, good tackle, but Živković is there to side foot home. Let's see what happens here. Kajura pinging around. Oh, right in the goalies. Gets to the byline, whips it in. Živković on his weaker foot. Okay, that's a significant deflection, but still a nice goal nonetheless. Hangs it up. Samata one-on-one. Easy. I would probably be a little bit more upset, but Nordsjælland have had 8 kickoffs so far this game and only scored once. So, not going to complain too much. That is actually ridiculous. I mean, that is really ridiculous. Once again, the second leg was over before it began, so we rotated and secured a comfortable 2-0 win courtesy of a Samata brace. Just one more round to go before the Conference League proper, and it is CSKA 1948 Sofia who stand in our way. Now, every game I play is recorded, but I don't want to put them all in full, else videos and seasons will become very long. For those that want to see them, however, I have some ideas, and I'd appreciate your feedback or thoughts. At the end of each month in game, I could package all the games into a bonus episode, an omnibus where you get to see everything. Alternatively, I could upload each game as unlisted and put links to them in the description. Finally, I could just do nothing. If you're happy with how I've chosen to present things here, no need to make more work if there's no interest. I'll pop a poll up on the channel shortly, so please let me know there or in the comments below. Right, back to business. The scheduling gods have been kind and handed us a home game against Kafisia for our opening fixture. The Athens-based side are favourites to finish bottom, but do have FM legend Sotiris Ninnis. We'll be without Viorina for this one, but that's a good segue to talk about one of the players who has stood out for us so far. Lefteris Liratsis started the game on the transfer list, but is a near perfect fit for our system. He's a wing-back that's better going forward than defending, and has 3 goals and 2 assists in the Conference League so far. His first touch is below par, and could also do well to improve his dribbling, but he's young, homegrown, and more than capable at this level. We're all caught up, so let's get things underway. Here's the lineup. Let's cut to the game. I wanted to use this game to talk, as promised, about tactics. I made 2 statements. Thomas Schaaf's diamond, but make it Greek. So what does that mean? Let's start with Thomas Schaaf, not least because his career is genuinely really interesting. Thomas Schaaf is a true one-club man, a defender in his playing days who joined Bremen aged 11. He might not have been as iconic as, say, Paolo Maldini or Carlos Puyol, but he broke into the first team at 17 and played until 1995, retiring at age 34. That's a good chance for Kafisia there. In this time, he won 2 Bundesligas, 2 DFB Pokals and the Cup Winners' Cup, all under the stewardship of future Greece manager and legend, King Otto Rehhagel. What sets him apart from the aforementioned icons is his managerial career. On hanging up his boots, he immediately took charge of Bremen's second team, a position he held for 4 years until he was brought in to save the senior side from relegation after a disastrous Felix Magath spell. Felix Magath, incidentally, also had a short-lived spell at Fulham, where he tried to heal a knee injury with cheese. I digress. Schaaf's greatest success, undoubtedly, was winning the league and cup double in the 03-04 season, with his Bremen side scoring 106 goals in just 40 matches. It was a side that contained another Greek legend, Angelos Charisteas, who would go on to score the winning goal in Euro 2004 later that summer. Charisteas is, ultimately, the tenuous link that kick-started this tactic idea. Schaaf would go on to manage Bremen for another 10 years, before eventually leaving by mutual consent at the end of the 2013-14 season, bringing a close to an astonishing 41-year spell at the club. For much of his tenure, Werder Bremen used a 4-4-2 diamond, looking to control central areas and create opportunities through quick passing combinations and 1-2s. The diamond consisted, as expected, of a holding midfielder at the base and a creative outlet at the tip. The remaining 2 were all-action midfielders, involved in every phase of play. Just a quick aside here, I'm a little disappointed in our creativity, so just going to see how this highlight plays out, and it's a goal. No need to shout. Liratsis. That's his 4th goal in 5 games from right back. Here goes Zivkovic. We move the ball from left to right really nicely. Loads of space for Liratsis, fires across the keeper, and that's 1-0. Back to Bremen. But whilst they would often build up from deep, they were not afraid of verticality, with Klasnich's hold-up play and Ailton's channel running used to aid quick progressions when the opportunities presented themselves. With fullbacks responsible for providing the width and midfielders who like to get forward, Bremen would often flood the final third to create overloads. And that is 2-0. Liratsis now has an assist to his name. And let's have a look here. Load of open space in front of him. He can't beat his defender, but drills it in low. And that's lovely placement from Tyson. 2-0. By flooding the final third, it also meant they were vulnerable to the counter-attack. It was a system that was more effective than not. During his 14-year tenure, Scharf had a 48% win rate, and Werder Bremen racked up over 1,200 goals. They also conceded 1.5 goals per game, and that looks like a penalty. It is? Bar? It is. Right, a chance here to make it 3-0. Captain Schwab. Schwobbly jubbly. I mean, I know that doesn't work, but the worse the pun, the better. Right, so back to Bremen again. Now, it certainly helped that during his time, they had some very good players, like Mertesacker, Prinz, Borowski, Diego, and Ozil, to name just a few. Certainly a quality of player that far exceeds that which we have at our disposal. And that is why it's important to remind you that this is about inspiration, not imitation. I am looking to incorporate some of Scharf's ideas, but in a manner more in keeping with the Greek style of play. Now, this might be the most offensive part of the video yet, so to my Greek friends and family, let me first apologise and ask that you hear me out. I change that. Let me first watch this goal, then apologise and ask that you hear me out. To Loratsis again, acres of space, drills it in low, Samata adjusts well, and 4-0 feels a little bit flattering. In fact, we're very near half-time, so we'll regroup then, and I'll start talking about what I mean by make it Greek. So before we head to the dressing room, I do want to just see where Coefficient are getting the ball, who they're playing through. So we can see here that Ippolibo Jack has received a lot of the ball relative to the rest of the team, not really causing us any harm though. If we quickly zoom to the stats, 61% possession, 2.29 XG, I think we can be pretty happy with that. They have made a substitution, so we will check that in a second, but then to just look to kill things a little bit in the second half. And yep, it's come with a change of formation as well. So just to make sure players are all in picked order. And then if we look to trigger the press on Matias Santos, as he has had a couple of chances in that first half. Right, so make it Greek. When I think about the style of players that Greece produces, I tend to think of physicality rather than technicality or mentality. I'm talking about stout box defenders like Manolas, Delas or Papastathopoulos, athletic wingbacks like Setoridis, Torosidis or Tsimikas, and giant strikers like Charisteas, Brizas or Giacomakis. That is not to say that Greece exclusively produces these types of players. Georgios Karagounis is arguably Greece's most famous player, and was preceded by exceptionally talented players such as Hatzapanigas and even PAOK's very own Yoros Koudas. Nonetheless, I will still contend, in a moment, Michailidis has made it 5-0. This is ridiculous. Oh, we haven't even produced 3xG. Where was I? Yes, I still contend that those players mentioned before are far more common than your Karagounises. And that's where the 3-5-2 formation comes into play. It allows us to maximise the number of players on the pitch that are likely to fit the profile of players I expect to come through the youth academy. In an ideal world, we'll be able to develop a conveyor belt of talent ready to step into the first team every time one of our starters is poached by bigger club. Now Loratsis really struggled to keep up with play there, so just going to freshen things up on the right. The more positions we can satisfy internally, the fewer players we need to purchase. The fewer players we need to purchase, the more we can spend on each one, and in theory, the better they should be. I appreciate this might seem like a very circuitous route to getting to the tactic, but to properly understand what we're trying to achieve, we first need to understand why. This all culminates into two formations, both with the exact same team instructions. Cubic Zirconia here, which is a 5-2-1-2 with a libero who steps into the base of midfield, and Moissanite, a 5-1-2-2 with a false 9 who drops to the tip, both named after fake diamonds. I am genuinely this insufferable in real life. In theory, these should both act similarly in possession, but allows us to have different rest defence structures. Both contain a linked striker and a goal scorer, complete wingbacks, and midfielders who are expected to get forward to flood the final third. We're using fairly narrow width, slightly shorter passing and slightly higher tempo to encourage those quick passing combinations and 1-2s. And that's a bit of a bugger. I came on 4 minutes ago? So we'll just shift things around a little bit here so that we can maintain our defensive shape. Whilst we will look to counter-press, as it's the most effective time to win the ball back, we will drop into a low block if it's bypassed, and try to funnel the opposition into central areas where our compact shape and numerical advantage should give us the edge. The biggest question, of course, is will it work? Whilst early results have been positive, today notwithstanding, we've not really played against difficult opposition, and so time will tell. It does, however, seem to be a convenient time to end this bit as we head into the final seconds, and hopefully the ref will put the team out of the misery soon. Here's one last chance for us to see some of that hopefully quick passing as we move between the lines, a little bit like that. Mo goes wide and then gets robbed. That has got to be the final whistle. And it is. 5-0 is a great result. Perhaps a little generous, but I'm not complaining. Alright lads, well done. It was a good win. That, my friends, is as good a start as we could have asked for. 5 wins from 5, although it must be said we were expected to win all of them. Okay, maybe not the away leg against Nordsjælland, but the tie was already over by that point. Looks like Singaras is going to be out for a few weeks, but we have reinforcements arriving there soon. We've got a few more winnable games coming up before our home clash with reigning champions AEK. See you then.